acid rain, one of the very much important topic for regarding air pollution. Now, acid rain occurs due to the industrial pollution and other phenomena. There can be volcanic eruption also can be responsible. Different type of gases coming out in the atmosphere and converted into different sorts of mineral acids like hydrochloric acid, nitric acid, sulfuric acid, and precipitated as rain called the acid rain. There are two types of rain. One is called acid rain, other one is called acid deposition. When the liquid droplets of acid below pH 2 is deposited into different buildings or statues or structures, then it is called acid deposition. And whenever within a range of 4.5 to 6.5 pH, that rainfall is called acid rain.
Are rain to become acidified. Sulfuric acid arises
Just
from the
sulfuric
burning of
acid
coal and oil,
that is produced from
mainly in power stations.
different industrial
Whereas
chimney. Nitric
arises
acid,
from the exhaust
sulfuric nitric
pipes of
acid is
automobile.
produced from vehicular
You will
emission,
also see some of the
particularly,
effects acid rain has
and then
on our
this type
environment.
of gases,
Firstly,
sulfur
it's
dioxide
important to
gas
understand that
or
rain is
nitrogen
naturally
dioxide
slightly
gas, they are
acidic.
mixing with the
Whilst falling
rainwater
to the ground, the rain
and
dissolves
producing
carbon dioxide
acid.
from the atmosphere.
Carbon dioxide
to
is
form carbonic
obviously
acid,
another phenomena,
a
but
weak
carbon
acid,
dioxide
giving
is
natural
producing
rain
carbonic
pH
acid, which is
6.
weak acid,
It's when we
and
burn
pH
fossil
6.
fuels
So
that
that's
much
why if
stronger
only
acids
carbon
get
dioxide
into
is
our
present
rain
in the atmosphere,
to
then
form
pH
acid rain
will be
with a pH
6 to
as
7
low as
rain.
3.
But if
When
the pH goes
changes
below
from 6 to 3,
that,
what do you think the
pH
acidity
6 to
increases by?
3, this acidity
2 times,
increases
3
2
times,
times,
10 times,
3 times,
1,000
10 times,
times,
1,000
Pause and
times,
think.
okay, by different type of other gases
Remember
that is
that
produced
each
in the
change of
atmosphere.
1 in pH is a tenfold change in acidity.
So 1 in pH is
changing
equal to
from
10
6
full in
to
acidity.
3 is 10 times 10 times
10 into 10
or
into 10,
1,000 times
that is 1,000
more
times.
acidic. We'll consider sulfuric acid first. Plants need a little sulfur to grow. They
So
obtain it
sulfuric
from
acid
sulfates,
produced from the
which
sulfur and
is
sulfates,
sulfate, found
K2SO4
naturally in the soil.
from the soil,
The sulfates are taken up by the
plant
plant's
is
roots.
collecting
Sulfur
the
atoms
sulfate.
become bonded to
So
carbon
from
atoms
soil
and
the
release
sulfate is
proteins.
getting collected in
When
the plant.
plants die and eventually form
Then
coal
after
and
that,
oil over millions
after the
of
death
years,
and decay of the
these
plants, it is
sulfur
again
atoms
going back to
remain
the
bonded to
soil.
the carbon atoms. The sulfur content of coal and
So
oil
the
is
sulfur
usually
content
21
is more or less
weight.
1 to
What do you
4%
think
by
is
weight.
produced when fossil fuels containing sulfur
Now
are burned?
this
Pause the
biomass
video
is
while you
converted to fossil fuel over a long period of time. Now whenever these sulfur
think. When
containing
the coal
materials
is
are burned,
the sulfur
producing
and the carbon atoms
SO2
join
gas.
with oxygen from the air and are released into the atmosphere as carbon
just like this
dioxide
as
and
shown
sulfur
in the
dioxide.
video. So SO2 and CO2
In the
gases are
presence of
produced,
sunlight,
sulfur dioxide and carbon
photochemical
dioxide, which are
reactions
acidic gases.
where sulfur dioxide reacts with more oxygen to form sulfur trioxide.
Now SO2
This
is converted to
dissolves in
SO3,
rainwater, forming sulfuric
and
acid.
SO3 getting attached
Let's
to
now
one
consider
molecule
how
of water
nitric
producing
acid
sulfuric
gets
acid.
into the rain.
Now let's
In the
come
high
to the formation
temperature
of nitric
conditions in
acid.
cylinders of our motor vehicles, a small amount of
So
nitrogen
in the
and oxygen from the air
vehicular
can
emission,
react. Remember that
this
air taken
nitric
in
oxide is
buses
produced from nitrogen and
80%
oxygen.
nitrogen.
The
So
nitrogen from
exhaust
the
gases
atmosphere,
from
oxygen
the
from the
contain
atmosphere,
small
they are
but
getting
significant
combined, producing
amounts of
nitric
nitrous
oxide.
oxides. Once the
Because the air
oxides of
contains
nitrogen
80%
are in the
nitrogen.
air, they react with more oxygen,
Now this
just
nitrogen
like
dioxide
sulfur dioxide,
gas is produced,
and dissolve in rainwater
and N2O5 is also produced.
acid.
So now,
If the rain
and
falls
finally
on limestone
producing
soil, which are
HNO3, nitric
alkaline,
acid.
the acidity may be neutralized.
Now
However,
this
if the
nitric
rain
acid is getting
lands on
precipitated
neutral
during
or acid
rainfall.
soils or on vegetation, then it can cause damage. So why is this acidity harmful to living things? Well, living things don't grow well in acid conditions.
So acidic conditions
demonstrate this. Soak
is
a slice of
producing,
bread in vinegar.
if the
and another
acidity is
in
high,
water, leave them open.
vinegar and
Wow.
water, if you
And then
compare,
leave
water
them
is
covered
not
for a week.
acidic but vinegar is
You will
acidic.
find that the bread soaked in vinegar has not gone moldy, whereas the other
Now
bread
in
has.
vinegar food
In
is
fact, we use
protected,
vinegar to
but in
preserve
water food
in a
is
process
getting
quickly.
this fungal formation.
This is the case because certain
But
enzymes
here
which
vinegar
are
is
vital
protecting
for growth
because
are unable to
the
function in
enzymes
acid
of the bacteria in
conditions. The other
acid
main
condition
problem is in the
can
soil.
be
Whilst naturally
broken
occurring
or
toxic metals such
cannot
as aluminium
work properly.
are insoluble and therefore fairly harmless in neutral soil, they become soluble in acidic soil. They then get taken up by living things and take the place of essential metals such as zinc and iron. To add to this,
Now
the
the
hydrogen
plant
atoms in the acid rain will replace essential
collecting the
metal
acids
ions such as potassium,
from the soil,
magnesium,
different type of
calcium,
minerals,
which are normally held in the clay soil.
and some of them are soluble,
Causing these
some of them are
essential metals to be
insoluble.
washed deep
Now in
into the
acidic
subsoil,
conditions, these
away
minerals
from the
are
roots of the plants.
sometimes
So to summarise,
not
normal rain is slightly acidic
properly
due to
collected
dissolved carbon dioxide.
because it is becoming
Acid
soluble.
rain contains
From the
sulfuric
soil it is
nitric
washed
acid,
out,
making the
and
rain
the
1,000
soil,
times more
that
acidic,
fertility is lost.
dangerous for many living things.
So
Sulfuric
nitric acid,
arises
sulfuric acid,
from
both are
burning
strong
fossil
acids.
fuels containing sulfur. Nitric acid arises from the combustion of atmospheric oxygen and nitrogen in the high temperature conditions in the cylinders of petrol and diesel engines.
Now some different points that we are going to discuss: introduction, some historical facts, detailed explanation of the problem, sources of acid rain, and so on. Let's go ahead one by one. Acid rain. It is rain that is more acidic than normal. It is called acid rain. So precipitation or rainfall that is containing acid more than usual, that is acid rain. It has pH value very low, normally 4.5 to 6.5. So what is pH? It is minus log of hydrogen ion concentration, where H plus is hydrogen ion, and acid rain has a pH value varying from 2 to 5. So if it is less than 2, it is called acid deposition. Now acid rain refers to the deposition of acidic components in either wet form or dry form. So sometimes the dry deposition of the sulfate nitrate can be on the surface of material, or in the rainfall it can mix with the water, dissolve into it, and gets deposited. Now biggest contributor is the burning of coal. Annually 70 ton that go of the sulfur emission comes from fossil fuel burning, compared to 8 from volcano and 2.8 from wildfires. So burning of coal is a major contributor. Burning coal is extremely cheap and efficient, but actually why people prefer, because coal is the cheapest material, and another thing, this coal you can abundantly available in some places. Like for example India, coal is available directly from mines, but petroleum products always you need to purchase, which is not available much in India. So in this that scenario, so coal is found to be the most popular fossil fuel for power plant as a power plant raw material. Now sources of acid rain: sulfur, nitrogen, and carbon and methane. These are major sources. Sulfur producing sulfuric acid, nitrogen with air producing nitric acid, carbon is producing carbonic acid. Okay, and this type of acids whenever mixing with water forming the acid rain. Now these are the reaction taking place: N2O plus H2O producing HNO3, N2O3 plus H2O, then we are getting nitric acid, nitrous acid. Then nitrous acid can be further oxidized in the air producing nitric acid. Sulfur trioxide plus oxygen plus water producing sulfuric acid, and that way the acid rain is formed. Okay, so from this diagrammatic representation we can understand how the acid rain is formed and how it is getting deposited. So sulfur dioxide, nitrogen dioxide gas is mixing in the air, and for vehicular emission producing nitrogen dioxide gas, and first of all nitric oxide followed by formation of nitrogen dioxide gas, and that is producing nitric acid, whereas the thermal power plant emission producing sulfur dioxide gas, and in the long run it is producing sulfuric acid. by different steps of reactions, and this sulfuric acid, nitric acid getting deposited, making the soil acidic, the lake water acidic, the pond water acidic, and that's why the different industries are getting affected. Agriculture, dye industry, all those industries getting affected. There are some two types of factors. One is called man-made factor, other one is natural factor. By man-made as well as natural factor, both way different type of acidic gases are produced. Volcanic eruption is one natural factor. Now coming to the effects of acid rain, there are intense effects of acid rain. Effects on monuments, sculptures that is getting damaged because most of the sculptures are made of calcium carbonate, that is marble stone, and in presence of acid it is the softness of the structure slowly gets damaged and it is becoming dull. The structure is becoming dull and then gets finally peel-offs occurs. Now effects on trees and vegetation is also there. The vegetable growth is hindered, the crop field is becoming barren, and the productivity is lost. Effects of animals, animals are getting disease. So effects on humans, there is a skin irritation, there can be scalp irritation, there can be itching tendency because of this acidic rainfall. Many buildings are made of concrete or stone. This compound acts as a base, react with acid, and the building technically weathering is occurring and it is crumbles just like this. See how the acid is affecting the different stoneworks. Now left hand structure and right hand structure, if you look at here, this one is made in 1908 and in 1968 this particular structure, stonework structure, is becoming dull and the details of that artistic work is damaged. Now effects on vegetation, because of acid rain the yellow leaf, plant growth is retarded, the leaf is becoming yellow and they're falling fast. Now in the soil different type of minerals are there, like calcium, magnesium, different ions are present. In presence of acid they are getting washed away, and that's why soil is losing its fertility. Forest is also getting affected by acid rain. Left hand side you can see the forest, and after the constant acidic rainfall, the situation you can see at the bottom. So this type of forest is becoming damaged. It is more or less getting devastated, you can say. Now effects of animals, maximum so many animals are getting died, like aquatic animals, because of lake water acidity. Effects on humans, there can be this type of different gases when you are going into the lungs and throat, irritation occurs. Preventive measures, industries should reduce the different type of gas emission. So the control of gases emission can be the only remedy. There is no other option. Apart from that, the continuous use of fertilizer, the artificial different fertilizers or pesticides should be controlled. Rather, biofertilizer or biopesticide should be used to curtail this type of problems. And acid rain is the rain containing acid, that is the conclusion, and is caused by two major gases, sulfur and nitrogen. So emission from the thermal power plant and vehicular the source, these two if we can keep under control, then this acid rain pollution problem can be taken care of.
Sulfuric acid arises from the burning of coal and oil, mainly in power stations.